and good day to all of you. How cool would it be to be an expert and in communication and in kindness, and to get to share those bits of wizardry in two places throughout your life? Pretty magical on all fronts, right? Well, that's the focus of the Business of Life Masterclass podcast today, because we are all about communication and kindness. So greetings again, everyone. Hello, I'm Debbie Lundberg, performance coach with Presenting Powerfully.
Hi, Barb Zant here, media sales leader and founder of the lifestyle brand and blog, The Stay at Work Mom. So this is a topic that Debbie and I, it's very relevant and timely, and both of us regard communication and kindness at the top of our list for connectors. So it will be most memorable to share our guest with our listeners. Who is our leader that we have with us today, Debbie?
Oh, absolutely, Barb. So our guest is someone deeply rooted in compassion and kindness. She is currently an adjunct professor at Florida Gulf Coast University, teaching a course in kindness, which is one of the earliest of its sorts in the model of courses in kindness across the nation. So cool. Additionally, she continues to spread kindness through her Facebook group, which I'm a part of happily, the $10 Kindness Club. That's the $10 Kindness Club. And that's where members are inspired with ideas on how to give back with free or very low cost acts of kindness. And when our guest is not teaching, she serves as a communications director for Lee County Visitor and Conventions Bureau in Fort Myers, illustrating all of the best things to do in Southwest Florida. So on our other side a bit, right? So we're fairly close, and creating all these experiences for residents and visitors. Prior to her position in public relations, she spent 2 decades as a journalist working in the newspapers throughout the country. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from Rutgers University and a master's in journalism from the University of Missouri. She's consistently demonstrating that there are always opportunities to spread positivity, and she's making the world a better place through her leadership and kindness and her experiences. Please welcome fellow author in the book, Living Kindly, my friend and kindness mentor, Francesca Donlan.
Wow. Best intro I've ever had in my life.
Oh, you deserve it.
Happy to be here. So happy to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. We asked you on today because you are an expert in communication. All of us and our listeners could benefit from taking your course and learning a thing or two from kindness. Glad you are here. In 10 words or less, tell us why you wanted to be on our show today.
Well, I want to be on your show because I love your mission and I love your enthusiasm and I love, your deep connection to Fort Myers.
So some of you didn't get to hear, but it was really fun to hear Barb and Francesca talking earlier. They go back years and years ago and have a lot of friends and colleagues in common. So that was fun to hear, a little behind the scenes.
Yes.
So
Only small world, yes.
Small world with big impact. So we are now moving on to our Business of Life Masterclass for Francesca. These are our 4 questions we ask each guest to please answer for inspiration. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, what time do you get up in the morning, and what is your daily routine to get your day started right?
Okay. So I get up at 6:30 in the morning. I have to be at work at 8. And if I'm being really good and I'm on like a fitness jag, the way that I get up is I do this thing called the 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of it? Where you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Love it. Mel Robbins, right? Yeah.
Yes. So it allows you not to turn over and hit snooze. Like she basically tells you if you can do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you'll get out of bed. So if I'm on an exercise jag, that's how I get out of bed. Otherwise, I just get up and think about my big cup of tea and get out the door. But that would be my only trick, I have to say.
All right. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now, number 2, what is something other than that morning routine with that counting that you believe that other people, if they were to do it, would set them up for an additional level of success? Barb likes to call this the special sauce or the extra oomph.
Well, I think there's so many answers to that. And I'm going to stick with what I'm doing right this second in my class, at my kindness class at Florida Gulf Coast University. We spend the whole month on self-kindness, self-compassion. And one of my students so eloquently last Thursday night said, after we realized that the class had a hard time prioritizing themselves, being kind to themselves, figuring out what it was, she said, do you think if everyone was kind to themselves, we would be kinder to each other?
Mm,
And I
so
think
true.
that is true. So I think if we can give ourselves the grace of self-compassion and we're not so hard on ourselves, I think the world would be a better place.
So well said by your student. And you and I get to hear similar things as we get to teach kindness. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. So now we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We've got self-compassion. Number 3, who or what has been the biggest influence in your life, your success, and your continued focus on making everything kind and with compassion? What have you done with that influence too?
So, right, that's the tricky question for me, because I love your podcast and I know people have people who have influenced them, and I certainly have, but I think that my kindness comes from like a lot of negative influences.
Mhm.
Like I had a family system that was a little negative, and I have had some very negative bosses, and I am trying to be what I see some other people not to be what I see. And I, as I really thought about it, I think that I have certainly, I mean, we are not here without the grace and the kindness of other people. And I've certainly had that, but why I'm motivated to be kind is because I feel like I've seen a lot of cruelty.
Thanks for sharing that, because it's really good. I mean, for Barb and me to hear, and our listeners, really importantly, because one time, I'll be very brief, I was asked in a mentoring to share about a mentor, and people stood up and all talked about, oh, we all have all these mentors. And I said, I really didn't have a mentor until I was fully into adulthood. I had some teachers who I loved and admired, and I appreciated the feedback, but somebody who really took that kindness of mentoring. And so it's important for us to hear that it doesn't all come from the positive. We can learn what not to do from
Yes.
those who inspire us. We can be
Yeah.
inspired to change the course of how things go. And you're a wonderful example of that. All right. So while our series, and ultimately, speaking of some of the negativity, right? While our series and ultimately, as you know, our masterclass focuses on the positive and how to move forward in life. If there is one thing that you could encourage people to stop doing because you believe it would move them forward, what would that be?
I really think it's the same theme. I would ask them to stop being so mean to themselves. I would stop I would ask them to be aware of their critical voice. I mean, we speak more to ourselves than we speak to anyone. And if we could just stop the limitations and the guilt trips and the shame, our own self-criticisms, I think it would really transform the world, because we would all believe in ourselves.
And then we wouldn't have to compete with others. We could compete to be our best and encourage ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. I know you can probably see, and if people are seeing this on the video side of it, Barb taking notes and smiling. So Francesca, thank you for bringing a very vulnerable and honest approach to how sometimes things aren't great and we can still turn them around.
And things are not particularly great right now in our communities. So, right, we need all the kindness warriors that we can get, and we've got to start with ourselves.
Thank you. That was so inspiring and kind. Really appreciate that. Here are just a few encouraging ideas that I noted from your responses as I was taking notes. I want to play with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the morning. I've done it other places. Love, love, love that. And working on being a kind influence to others. So Debbie, I know that your list is probably similar, maybe some other things, but are you willing to integrate some of these into our everyday habits and things we do? next week or in the next coming weeks based on Francesca's responses.
Oh, I will. Now I'll learn a little bit more about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because both of you were exposed to it. I do like to smile as soon as I wake up because if I can smile, then I can move. And if I can move, I'll keep moving. So it may be similar. I'm happy to adjust it. I'll be smiling with my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And absolutely, it's exciting. I mentioned and Francesca was truly generous with time and energy and thoughts. And I got to hear about the kindness course and now getting to do that with the Florida State University in the entrepreneurship program. It's wonderful. And now we have this back and forth and talk about living what you speak. I mean, Francesca demonstrated that we shared everything very openly and definitely have found that the being kind to ourselves part is, Francesca, you shared that with me. You said in the course, it's not just 1 week or 2 weeks. And so when I have a shorter amount, even though it's only 7 or 8 weeks, we fully spend the 3 weeks on ourselves. And I'm excited it's starting again. And to your point, to refocus and say, okay, I go through the course each time like you do. So thank you. And yes, Barb, I will happily report back on my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and my kindness. And also that reminder when I'm with clients to encourage them to, I call it be your best cheerleader. So that's perhaps just a different way of saying it. And that's a good reminder. So I'm in. Absolutely, I'm in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And please know that you can stay, to all of our listeners, that you can stay connected with Francesca Donlan on all social media and Facebook at francesca.dolan or facegroup.com/groups. And we do have a long number here, so I will make sure that those are in the notes so everyone gets that correctly. And I cannot wait to join that group. Or search at $10 Kindness Challenge as well on Instagram at kindness.effect or LinkedIn as Francesca Donlan.
It's Donlan. I think Donlan. I may have said that and missed an N in there, but it's Donlan. We'll get it right. We'll have it right. So I may have started that, Barb, so please forgive me.
You can follow myself and Debbie on Instagram at the Business of Life Masterclass, and that's also on Facebook. And I'm on the Stay at Work Mom on Instagram, and Debbie is Debbie Lundberg pretty much everywhere. And if you like the positivity, purpose, and overall what you heard, we love it if you rate us 5 stars because we are committed to continually provide you with 5-star guests and inspiration like our authentic and graceful Francesca. So thank you. Stay tuned for our follow through in 1 to 15 days about how Debbie and I did implementing all of the ideas that you heard today. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Business of Life Masterclass, the podcast for successful people embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all you can in business and in life. Listen, choose, do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.